the cameras flashed, the crowd froze.
Mhm.
And just like that, Hollywood and the sports world had a completely new obsession.
Yeah, it was a massive moment.
Right, so picture this scene. It's June 13th, 2026. A private Gulfstream V5 jet touches down on the tarmac at Palm Beach International Airport.
Okay.
The door opens, and out steps a man who has been practically a ghost for months. Tiger Woods.
Oh, wow.
He's returning from a specialized clinic in the Swiss Alps, ending this period of absolute silence following a really devastating DUI arrest back in March.
And the sports world has been holding its breath, right?
Yeah.
Expecting this highly polished corporate statement.
Exactly. But instead, within hours of landing, a raw 7-minute video drops online. No PR spin, no corporate backdrop, just him.
And the impact of that specific delivery method was just immediate. I mean, we're talking 20 million views in a single hour.
Which is insane.
It completely short-circuited the usual sports news cycle because, well, it bypassed the traditional media filter entirely.
Welcome to Starscope Report, where we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today's deep dive is anchored by a headline that is absolutely everywhere right now. It's getting worse. Vanessa Trump's update for Tiger.
Yeah, that headline is really the foundation of everything happening behind the scenes.
Right. So we have a massive stack of sources to get through today. We've got the raw transcript of that viral video, extensive celebrity news reports, ongoing legal dockets, and public health statements.
It's a lot of material.
It is. And our mission here is to piece together the mechanics of what is actually happening.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack the psychological revelations from Tiger's recent stint in rehab, the complex legal jeopardy he's actively facing, and how his partner, Vanessa Trump, has become his anchor.
All while she's fighting a very serious health battle of her own. And for you listening, I want to establish the baseline of why this matters outside of just the sports ecosystem. What we're witnessing through these sources is, well, it's a psychological case study.
Right, bigger than golf.
Totally. It's an examination of how a global icon is being forced to dismantle the invincible identity he spent 30 years building, and, the mechanisms of coping when two high-profile people are forced to face severe crises simultaneously.
So let's look at the data point that triggered this entire sequence of events. March 27th. The crash in Jupiter Island, Florida.
Right.
Tiger's SUV and a truck are involved in an accident.
Yeah.
And when deputies arrived, the police reports indicate they found 2 hydrocodone pills in his pocket.
Yeah.
Plus, he refused a urine test at the scene, later admitting to taking a few prescription medications.
To understand that reliance on hydrocodone, you have to look at the biomechanical reality of his body. I mean, this is a man who has undergone 7 back surgeries, including spinal fusion.
Oh, wow, 7.
Yeah, 7. He has a ruptured Achilles, and of course, the horrific 2021 car crash that required rods, pins, and screws just to salvage his right leg.
Just brutal physical trauma.
Exactly. The physical trauma is immense, which creates this chronic pain loop that opioids like hydrocodone are specifically designed to blunt.
So, following this March arrest, he doesn't just go to a local facility. He flies to a highly specialized clinic in Switzerland for a 2-month stint.
Right.
Now, I have to play devil's advocate here for a second. We've watched Tiger Woods do the deeply remorseful public apology tour before, most notably back in 2009.
True.
So from a pure data standpoint, why should we view this Swiss clinic trip and this new 7-minute video as a genuine psychological breakthrough, rather than just, high-level PR crisis management 2.0?
That is the exact right question to ask. The difference lies in the specific therapeutic modalities used at the Swiss clinic, as opposed to your standard celebrity rehab.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, standard detox often just focuses on physiological withdrawal, essentially just removing the substance. But the reports from this facility indicate a heavy focus on cognitive restructuring.
Cognitive restructuring.
Yeah. They were treating a phenomenon known in psychology as identity foreclosure.
Okay, wait. What exactly is identity foreclosure?
It happens when a person commits to an identity so early in life, often under immense pressure, that they never explore or develop a secondary sense of self.
Oh, I see.
For 30 years, Tiger's entire identity was just the invincible golfer. So if his body fails and he can't golf, that doesn't just feel like a career setback. To his brain, it feels like literal death.
Wow, that is heavy.
It really is. The Swiss therapist forced him to decouple his self-worth from his ability to swing a club. He literally stated in the video, "I didn't know who I was without golf."
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So standard rehab just uninstalls the malfunctioning app, the pills. But it sounds like this Swiss clinic forced him to boot up in safe mode and completely rewrite the base operating system of his identity.
Precisely. In the video, he admits he told himself he needed the pills to play, and eventually, he just stopped asking if that was even true.
Right.
He was medicating the fear of losing his identity just as much as he was medicating his physical back pain.
But rewriting a psychological operating system requires a massive catalyst. I mean, you don't just endure 2 months of grueling cognitive therapy without a reason.
No, you definitely don't.
So to understand the mechanism of why he finally stripped away that armor at age 50, the sources point directly to his 17-year-old son, Charlie.
And that's a crucial piece of this. The limits of self-motivation in addiction recovery are well documented. When you hate yourself, doing it for yourself rarely ever works.
Right.
Tiger explicitly stated the turning point was realizing that Charlie was watching this dependency unfold. He said, "I didn't want Charlie to grow up thinking that this was normal, that taking pills to get through the day was normal."
He talked about looking into Charlie's eyes after the arrest and seeing fear. And Charlie is in such a high-pressure moment in his own life right now. The sources note he recently committed to playing golf at Florida State.
Right, a huge milestone.
And he just missed qualifying for the 2026 U.S. Open by a single shot.
But look at the behavioral response to that disappointment, though. Instead of sulking about missing the U.S. Open, Charlie immediately pivoted and decided to caddy for his friend, Miles Russell, at the qualifier.
Oh, I love that.
Tiger specifically highlighted that in his video. He said it showed character, something no tournament can teach you.
You know, I want to push back on how we culturally define a sport's legacy for a second. We almost universally measure athletes by rings or trophies or weeks at world number one.
We do, yeah.
But if we're looking at generational pressure, especially considering Tiger was raised by his father, Earl Woods, to be an absolute hyper-focused assassin on the course, could Tiger's greatest legacy actually be his willingness to break this intense psychological cycle for his son?
I think we're watching that pivot in real time. Tiger explicitly stated he wants Charlie to forge his own path, free from the weight of the Woods name.
Which is huge.
In psychology, breaking generational patterns requires a profound level of self-awareness. Tiger's primary motivation to complete this rehab wasn't to get his body right to go win another Masters.
Right.
It was simply so he wouldn't lose his son's faith. That is a fundamental rewiring of a man who previously sacrificed his body and his relationships entirely for the sake of winning.
If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed, because we've got even crazier layers to this story ahead.
Yeah, the story takes a very intense turn when we look at his support system.
Because paternal motivation is incredibly powerful for the macro picture, long-term goals, right?
Yeah.
But addiction recovery is a minute-by-minute battle.
Absolutely.
Who is grounding him on a random Tuesday? The sources show that Tiger's day-to-day anchor during this chaotic period has been his partner, Vanessa Trump.
Yep.
And what makes this so complex is that she is navigating a life-threatening crisis of her own simultaneously. Which brings us right back to our headline. It's getting worse. Vanessa Trump's update for Tiger.
Yeah. In late May 2026, while Tiger was in the thick of his treatment, Vanessa, who is 48 and a mother of 5, went public with a breast cancer diagnosis.
Wow.
And I want to be absolutely clear for our listeners, as we analyze this, we are looking strictly at the human and health elements reported in these sources. The political connections of her former marriage are not our focus at all.
Exactly. We are looking at the sheer medical reality she is facing.
Yeah.
And to give you a sense of scale, we pulled data from the World Health Organization.
Right.
Breast cancer is the most common cancer diagnosed globally. We're talking about approximately 2.3 million new cases a year. It's grueling disease.
It really is.
And we just got a direct update from her on June 13th. She posted on social media that she had been recovering from surgery over the previous 4 weeks and is about to enter the second stage of her treatment.
And the timing of that surgery is crucial to understand Tiger's behavioral shifts. He actually flew back from the clinic in Switzerland to Florida in May, interrupting his own specialized rehab, specifically to support her.
Wait, really? He left rehab early for her?
Yes. In his video, he said, "She showed me what real courage looks like. She showed me that strength isn't about never falling down, it's about getting back up every single time."
Which is heavy coming from a guy whose entire career has been a cycle of physical collapse and rehabilitation.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm curious about the psychology of this. You would think two people going through massive life-altering trauma at the exact same time would be a recipe for total collapse.
You really would think that.
Yet an insider quote from our celebrity reporting sources said that focusing on Vanessa's needs and issues has actually been the best thing for Tiger. Why does taking on more stress actually help him?
Well, it comes down to a psychological concept called co-regulation, mixed with an external locus of focus.
Okay, tell me more about that.
When you are isolated in addiction recovery, your brain is entirely focused internally on your pain, your legacy, your failures. It's an echo chamber of anxiety.
Makes sense.
But having to physically show up for someone else who is fighting for their life forces your brain to direct its energy outward. She became a load-bearing wall for his recovery.
Wow.
He couldn't crumble because he was supporting her structural weight, and vice versa.
I love that analogy. A load-bearing wall rather than just try to hold yourself up. And stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because the real world still has some major hurdles for him.
Yeah, it definitely does.
As profound as these emotional and psychological breakthroughs are, the physical world is still waiting. Therapy is a controlled environment, right?
Right.
The real world has legal deadlines and professional contracts.
And the legal mechanics are highly active right now. Following that March DUI arrest, he pleaded not guilty. According to the legal sources, a Florida state attorney is subpoenaing the Cleveland Clinic on June 30th. They are specifically requesting any and all drug screen results from the time he was treated immediately following the crash.
Wait, well, let me stop you there because the mechanics of that seem confusing.
Sure.
If the crash happened in Jupiter, Florida, why is a Florida state attorney subpoenaing the Cleveland Clinic, which is, in Ohio? How does that work with medical privacy?
It's a great catch. The Cleveland Clinic actually has a massive, highly specialized branch located right in Florida, specifically in Weston.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they operate facilities in the Martin Health System near Jupiter. When a severe trauma occurs, patients are often transported to these specialized trauma centers.
Right, that makes sense geographically.
Furthermore, in DUI investigations involving severe accidents, prosecutors can utilize specific legal mechanisms to pierce standard Rio privacy protections.
Oh, wow, really? By doing what?
By arguing that the medical blood work is material evidence of a crime in this case, driving under the influence of hydrocodone.
Got it. So the state is actively hunting for the chemical proof of what was in his system that night. And his next court hearing is scheduled right after that subpoena deadline, on July 7th.
Exactly. So the legal jeopardy is front and center right now.
But then there's the golf side of the real world.
Mm-hmm.
He confirmed he is skipping the 2026 U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills.
Which is significant. The sources note he wasn't exempt and he didn't try to qualify.
Right. And for those unfamiliar with golf mechanics, being exempt means a player automatically qualifies for a major tournament based on past victories or world ranking.
Exactly.
Tiger's exemptions for certain majors have been expiring, meaning the man who dominated the sport would have had to play regional qualifying rounds alongside amateurs and college kids just to get into the U.S. Open.
Which he chose not to do, yet in that same raw video, he looked right at the camera and said, "I still have wins left in me."
Yeah, he admitted he doesn't know when or how many, but he genuinely believes they are there. And the data markets are actually responding to that confidence in a weird way.
Yes, the data from Polymarket is particularly interesting here.
Tell me about that.
Polymarket isn't a traditional Vegas sportsbook. It's a decentralized prediction market where users buy and sell shares on the outcome of future events using cryptocurrency.
Right.
Because real money is moving based on minute-by-minute news, it's often highly reactive. Polymarket currently shows a 43% chance he plays a PGA Tour sanctioned event in 2026.
Wow, 43%. And part of what's driving that probability are these rumors floating around about the Bay Current Classic in Japan this October.
Right.
It's an $8 million FedEx Cup event, and they've apparently been using his image in promotional graphics.
Yeah, that definitely fuels the speculation.
He also explicitly mentioned targeting the fall schedule, specifically the Hero World Challenge and the PNC Championship, which is that team event he plays with Charlie.
But notice the shift in his stated methodology. He made it very clear that his approach to the game has fundamentally changed.
How so?
He said he won't beat balls until his hands bleed anymore. He's moving to a system of quality over quantity, actively listening to his central nervous system rather than overriding it.
And the competitive fire is clearly still burning. I mean, the sources note he stayed deeply connected to the golf world even while locked down in rehab.
He did.
He watched Rory McIlroy win the 2026 Masters. He sent a text to Nelly Corda saying, "Finish it off," right before she closed out her tournament win.
Right.
But looking at the whole board here, given the spinal fusions, the shattered leg, the active legal battles, and the daily reality of dependency recovery, is it actually mechanically realistic for a 50-year-old to consider a competitive return against 25-year-olds?
That's a tough question.
Or are fans, and maybe Tiger himself, just holding on to a ghost?
Well, the answer depends entirely on how he now defines competitive. What the psychological data from this deep dive suggests is a man finally accepting his physical limitations. In the past, his entire brand was built on absolute conquest, chasing Jack Nicklaus's record of 18 majors. In this new reality, he explicitly said in the video, "I don't know if I'll ever break Jack's record, but I know that I'm grateful."
Wow, that is a monumental transition.
It really is. He has moved from a locus of total dominance to a locus of sheer gratitude. He might not beat the 25-year-olds, but stepping onto the course without needing a pill to do it, that might be his actual victory.
So synthesizing all of this, when we look across the raw video, the legal dockets, and the medical realities, we are witnessing the systemic deconstruction of an invincible persona.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're seeing how the psychological weight of generational pressure can be broken by a father looking at his son. And we're seeing how the human nervous system can find unexpected, life-saving stability by co-regulating with a partner who is fighting for her own survival.
It forces a reevaluation of how we define resilience. For decades, the culture viewed Tiger Woods' isolation and ability to bury his pain as the ultimate symbol of mental toughness.
Right, the lone wolf mentality.
But ultimately, that isolation mechanism nearly destroyed him. The actual resilience was found in dismantling the armor and asking for help.
Which brings this right to you listening to this deep dive. We all operate under pressure, we all build coping mechanisms, and we all construct psychological armor that we wear to face our jobs, our families, and the expectations placed on us.
But structural integrity always has a breaking point. When that armor inevitably fails under pressure, the critical variable is your external support system.
Exactly.
Do you double down on the isolation, or do you have the framework in place to co-regulate with the people around you?
It leaves us with a lingering thought to carry forward. If Tiger Woods, a man who built a billion-dollar empire on the premise of being an emotionless, unstoppable machine, could only find peace by publicly dismantling his own myth and admitting his utter dependence on the people he loves.
Yeah.
What heavy armor are you wearing right now that you think is protecting you but might actually be the very thing holding you down?
A question definitely worth exploring.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.